In this video, I want to talk about finding the equation of an arithmetic sequence. Here are the two problems that we'll do. And to make sure that we don't take ourselves too seriously, let's think about the fun question. What Halloween candy would you always hope to get the most of during your trick-or-treating days? Okay, so math section, Algebra 2, arithmetic and geometric sequences fall under Algebra 2. And I always see at least one of these sequence questions on there. It's when you are given a list of numbers with some sort of pattern and you have to write an equation for them or spot the common difference they might ask you for. So let's talk about the difference between arithmetic and geometric. Geometric has a separate video if you want to watch it. So arithmetic means that you would add the same number, add a constant number from one to the next, and then we'll say versus geometric, which is multiplying a constant number. We'll say number. Okay. So we are going to determine if this sequence is arithmetic. All right. I'm noticing a pattern and I'm adding 30 to get from 29 to 59. That's the one that jumps at me first. This here, you can add 30. This here, add 30. So that tells me that the common difference is 30. That is literally the difference between the one number to the next, and so that number is 30. Okay, so how do we write a formula to describe this pattern? Well, the explicit formula for an arithmetic sequence goes like this: a subscript n equals a subscript 1 plus d times n minus 1. Okay, the common difference is the same thing as this d. So it's asking you for the common difference and then write the formula. Lastly, we'll find the 52nd term. So is it arithmetic? Yes, because that jump from one number to the next is the same number. It's a constant number that we are adding, 30. That number, 30, is the common difference, okay? The a sub 1 is the first term, okay? So this is negative 31. Let's make a little note in different color here. So we'll say first term. This is common difference. And then this a sub n is the whatever numbered term you're looking for. So if it's asking for the 52nd term, see, this n is going to be your numbered term. Okay, so we want eventually the 52nd. We'll plug in 52 for that n. But let's go back to where I was here. So negative 31 plus 30 times something is going to be this whatever term we're looking for. So let's keep an n in there because it's like a variable. Okay, so that is the explicit formula. However, I could also simplify. So negative 31 plus, this is 30n minus 30. That simplifies down to negative 61 plus 30n. And that's equal to this a sub n. So what's nice right now, I have the formula that gives me any term I want. So if I plug in a 1 for this n, I'll get negative 31. If I plug in a 2, I'll get negative 1. If I plug in 3, meaning I want the third term, I'll get 29, and so on. So I could ask somebody, what's the 1000th term? of this sequence, and you could find it in about 30 seconds. So this one asks for the 52nd term, and all we're going to do is go a sub 52 is negative 61 plus 30 times 52, and then simplify. Okay, so remember, you have access to a calculator on this test. Our final answer here is 1,499. So the 52nd term is 1,499. And that common difference we already stated. Common difference is 30. Positive 30. We're adding 30 as we go. Now, you could be asked any of those smaller questions, but the hard one that I've seen before towards the end of the test is something like this, where they say, okay, here is the 17th term, and here's the 32nd term. Find the 38th term. This one is a little harder because you don't have the common difference, and you also don't have the first term. See, in this formula right here, you need the a sub 1 and the d to really get going. So what we have to think of is some sort of out-of-the-box method to figure out the first term and figure out that jump from one number to the next. Okay, so if I know a sub 17 is 140, a sub 32 is 290, that gives me a hint, like, 16 numbers, then the 17th number would be 140, and then a bunch more numbers, and then the 32nd term is 290. Okay, so what's going on between this 140 and 290 is, we could subtract the 32 minus the 17, and that would give us 15. And then we could also do 290 minus 140, and that gives us 150. Okay, so let's think about one fun fact here. This a sub n equals number plus number times n. That is so similar to y equals mx plus b. So an arithmetic sequence is just like a linear function, meaning you are adding that same number to go from one number to the next. And so if I think of this pretty much like slope, like an m, I can just put this 150, basically the slope, 150 over 15, and think of that m as 10. So I want you to think of all of those jumps, the jumps and the number of jumps and the space between that 140 and 290 as like your x's and y's and slope. So that's usually the first step here, is you compute that rate at which the numbers are changing, literally the rate of change, which is slope. And then now we can use that to then find the first term and then eventually find the 38th term. So step one is what we've already done. That's finding that slope. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to blue so that you can see us going back to our original thought. We can do a sub n equals a sub 1 plus d times n minus 1. Remember, that's our function. So we know that 10 must be our jump from one number to the next. And then if I know that, then I can figure out the a sub 1. So I'm going to plug the 10 in, and then I don't know a sub 1. That's my question mark right now. But what I do know is that we could take, say, a sub 17 and plug it in like the 17th term. You remember how the ends match? We could say if a sub 17 is 140, I can just plug 140 in here and say what is a sub 1? Well, we have, didn't mean to put a plus there. This is 10 times that. So this is going to be 10 times the 16. And we have 140 equals something plus 160. And so that a sub 1, weirdly enough, is negative, but you know, that happens sometimes with linear functions. So if I know a sub 1 now is my first term, I figured that out using this step right here. Let's kind of order this. You know, so let's back it up. First step is finding the slope, let's say, from one number to the next. Second step is to find the a sub 1. And if we can figure those out, we just go back to our formula. I'll write it again. And plug them in. So we have a sub n equals negative 20 plus our d is 10, n minus 1. Let's polish it up and put it in that simplified format. Remember, we'll distribute a sub n equals negative 30 plus 10n. Okay, so that is our polished, explicit formula for what's going on from this 140 to 290. All right, let's talk about some practice problems. Here are two that are pretty much the same problem that you just saw, just nice practice. So I encourage you to pause the video while I show you the answers, before I show you the answers. Here they are. So I recommend, like, you would find this first, this second, and this third. And then the formula you'd have to find first and answer second. Okay, so a quote to keep you going. Comparison is the death of joy. Man, that is really true. If you are having a bad day, you should probably ask yourself, am I just comparing myself to the expectation of what I see in somebody else? Okay, everybody's got their correct path. We all have strengths and weaknesses. And it's really hard to compare our weaknesses to someone else's strengths, which is a great thing to remember as you prepare for the ACT. So I hope this video benefited you in some way. Now that you've had some time to ponder that fun question, I'd love to see your answers in the comment section. And if you'd like to keep up with new videos, I'd appreciate if you clicked subscribe. Have a great day.